The documentary will explore the differences between Chinese and the British culture through interview with 4 people and the video featuring aspects of Chinese and the Western culture. The other part will support it by practical contemporary examples of how Chinese and the Western culture intermingle with each other. As we share our culture more and more, we can celebrate diversity.
Confucianism. More than any other traditional thought, Confucianism is the dominant philosophy in China.
Confucianism, it has influenced by generations from ancient times to the present.
I believe religion and Christianity have a very important role in this difference of culture in the Westerner culture.
So to think about what I think is the most influential way of thinking, bearing in mind traditions, Christianity is probably the highest one up there, right next to Catholicism, because the two of them are borderline hand in hand. But they've also been very dominant within our culture for about, way over 2,000 years.
Traditional Chinese Confucianism is a binding of society through 5 social relationships. In nowadays, employer and employee, husband and wife, father and son, brother, sister and friend, between which there are mutual obligations and responsibilities.
For example, the 3-character classic of Confucianism, which is still recited by the next generation today, includes philosophical ideas such as righteousness, sincerity, respect, and filial piety.
In terms of looking at how it's helped control us as people, because I think that's the biggest way to look at religion on the whole, is that it's helped control us in the terms of how we see our family and how we see the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, how we look at ourselves within our family and then our community. But also to be a good Christian means to basically look after others, do unto others as you would have done unto you. So basically it's about being a good person aesthetic. But with that, it's also very, very heavy within our military sense as well, because it gives us a sense of what we're fighting for.
There is a spirit of a contract among Christians. Christian people have a contract with God.
Eating habit, I would say food culture. As the breakfast in China, it depends on where you live. For example, pancake in Tianjin, douhua, different kinds of noodles, as well as breakfast items that are available in Guangzhou.
The staple food in China is mainly steamed buns and other noodle dishes.
Chinese dishes, for example, taste and beauty. Western food might add taste by the sauce. They might want to keep the original flavor of the cooking materials.
What first comes to my mind is English breakfast. Well, most of British people would have fry up. It's a very personal thing. So feel free to swap in and out for what you prefer. This full English breakfast could be topped up with baked beans, baked bread, or hash brown.
So the differences between British food, Western culture food, and Chinese food. First of all, through what I've experienced, the Chinese food can be a lot juicier, so you're going to have a lot more liquids in there, a lot more fluids. Sometimes they're kind of like a sticky kind of not paste, but a sticky kind of coating to it. So your chicken will be kind of like sticky coated, In England, the chicken's probably going to be dry. It's probably going to be maybe sprinkled with salt and pepper. So there's a big difference already. The rice, there's a lot of different rices that you have within Chinese food as well, sometimes compacted with different vegetables in it. In England, the rice is probably just going to be a boil in a bag, Uncle Ben's, kind of just a standard straightforward thing. Even the way the potatoes are cut and sliced, there are similar foods, but prepared completely differently. So a couple of similarities between England and China as well. This also does tie in India as well, things like tea. England is a massive tea drinking country, and obviously so is China and so is India. But the thing with tea is that, and this is historical as well, is that you've got big aspects of England's history of basically trading and colonizing and basically fighting, and tea is one of those big aspects of that historical past. So yeah, England and tea are very strong, but then the preparation for it is completely different. In England, milk is very much a high factor for it, but whereas many other countries, it's not actually. Milk is quite irrelevant to it. It's just, you know, the tea, the herbs that are in there, and just hot water. So similarities again, but quite stark differences.
Chinese tea culture lies in the tasting of tea as well as the etiquette of tea tasting, and the specific traditional music that may also be required when tasting tea in a specific occasion.
British afternoon tea culture is very famous. The afternoon tea party has a requirement for a specific series of desserts. Liquid scones, cake and patisserie, to savory pies and Scotch eggs.
The differences between Chinese and British wine culture are also obvious. In the way, white and yellow wine from China is stored in the porcelain jars. In the West, barrels are mostly used as containers, and the whiskey, cocktails, and beer are served in glasses to the people. In the UK, it is the pub that is the place where most people to have a drink. Although during the Elizabethan period, dresses were made by silk as Chinese hand clothing, the differences between traditional Chinese and Western dress is the Western pays more attention to the design of the shape, whether it can highlight the beauty of the person. From the white slaves of Queen Elizabeth to the Queen Victoria, we can see that the design has become more and more simple. On the other hand, traditional Chinese costumes are mainly decorated with a complete sheet of cloth, as exemplified by the costumes of Tang and Song dynasties in ancient China. In art area, Western painting more likely tend to express the objective existence, whereas traditional Chinese painting is focused on subjective feelings. The symphony is represented mainly by the Viennese classic symphonic school, with the works of Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven as the outstanding music of their times. The classification of folk songs in China is mainly based on genre, which can be roughly divided into folk songs are characterized by broad melody, simple, and melodious rhythm phrase. In fact, differences are diminishing with the development of human technology and civilization, and the world is becoming more diverse. The expatriates and international students act as ambassadors of cultural exchange between East and the West. They bring with their own culture and ideas, while experiencing firsthand the uniqueness of another culture, with the help of which the two cultures understand, respect, and mingle with each other. Today, China has opened many Western-style restaurants with a focus on steak, and Chinese cuisine can also be tasted in Chinatown all over the world. The mixing of tastes between chilies, which come from the West, and the seasoned peppers, which are unique to Sichuan, has become an indispensable ingredient in the famous Chongqing hot pot now. Nowadays, more and more Westerners are becoming interested in the wide variety of teas from China. The combination of tea and wine opens up new attempts to blend Chinese and Western culture in the 21st century. Coffee, a product of the West, is now an indispensable part of the lives of young people in China, whether it be traditional premium coffee or instant one, accompanying them in their work and life. The seeds of coffee from the West have been bred in the soul of China across the ocean, giving birth to a new product of the times. A glass of red wine with traditional Chinese roast duck, a slightly sour taste of the red wine, and aroma of roast duck, a taste in the mingling and inclusion of the taste palette, which might be another different experience for people to have. Nowadays, whether Chinese or people from Western countries, walking down the street, you will find that we dress in almost the same style. Both Chinese red and white wedding dress become Chinese couples' favorite wedding costume, unique to China. It's also on the list of fashion, whether it is dressing up or accessory, or even decorating Victoria's Secret. Today, traditional string music is also an essential part of modern Chinese folk music compositions. China's Yellow River Song Piano Concerto is presented on the Western stage by the Chinese musician, and the Western music has entered China. Thus, the two different music styles intermingled. With the distinctive tones of the Chinese language and the fresh presentation by Western singers, the song called Jasmine Blossom, in a blend of Eastern and Western cultures. Chinese ink matched with Western objective painting style has given new meaning to Xu Beihong's Gallop Horses, and the same is true of the innovative fusion of Western watercolor painting with traditional Chinese painting techniques. In China today, art education has also adopted the Western view of pursuit of light and shadow, which has played an important role in painters of all ages.